Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB plus 3. Those plus 3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at plus 2 at the moment. You can head back in playlist to find them. And today's spell is Speak with Plants.
This one's Sebastian. This one's Carl. She's Priscilla. She's kind of my wild child. Hard to tame her.
Third level transmutation, casting time for 1 action, range of self, 30-foot radius. Opponent's verbal somatic, duration 10 minutes. You imbue plants within 30 feet of you with limited sentience and animation, giving them the ability to communicate with you and follow your simple commands. You can question plants about events in the spell's area within the past day, gaining information about creatures that have passed, weather, and other circumstances. You can also turn difficult terrain caused by plant growth, such as thickets and undergrowth, into ordinary terrain that lasts for the duration, or you can turn ordinary terrain where plants are present into difficult terrain that lasts for the duration, causing vines and branches to hinder pursuers, for example. Plants might be able to perform other tasks on your behalf at the DM's discretion. The spell doesn't enable plants to uproot themselves and move about, but they can freely move branches, tendrils, and stalks. If a plant creature is in the area, you can communicate with it as if you shared a common language, but you gain no magical ability to influence it. The spell can cause the plants created by the Entangle spell to release a restrained creature. Not many times we have a direct counter reference. We had one in Shield, but Entangle. Third level's a little steep, but for what you can potentially do with it, depending on the terrain, it can actually be quite good. Like, yes, you can ask him some minor questions, which, well, this one is strictly limited to just a day. Good if you're tracking someone down or some other beast that's been passing through it, but you can't have them, like, store a library's worth of information in an old oak tree. The oak tree's only going to be able to tell you what the sun was like yesterday. But people passing through, monsters coming in, you find stuff like that. The big one is you can ask them to do things. They'll only do it for the duration, or specifically, not for the duration, when they're under the influence of the spell up until the duration. Because when you cast this, it's on you in a 30-foot radius, but when you walk, the effect stops on the plants now outside of it and begins on the plants now inside of it. It's an aura you've cast on yourself that you can continue to move around in. Or where you move, the plants react. So in an extreme thicket, you could have it the fact that, yeah, the plants are parting ways as you're walking through them, but still closing back up because they're out of the spell's radius. Imagine a jungle moving a pathway for you, but not an entire line, which people can still shoot down, but just around your just enough for your party and you to walk through. And everyone else is left behind in the thicket that comes back. Or in the other sense, you have it doesn't have to be the entire area is difficult terrain, you could just have parts of it. So you could have, for you and your allies, perfectly fine normal terrain within like a 5-foot square. Everything else right next to you is difficult terrain now. Okay, now reading through it, I'm debating whether that's how it works. See, is it an aura on you, or is it just affecting the small radius of plants? If it's the aura around you, it's fantastic. I'm honestly having trouble reading if it is or not. Because it says the plants get this, and you can communicate with them when they're within 30 feet of you. Limited sentience. But whenever it says the other effects, it doesn't say when they're out of the spell's area or radius, it's just when the duration ends. So is it just the initial casting, or is it like the jungle scenario where you cast it and you walk forward, and it does stay down as you're walking through it? You could tell them to just lift up right as you're about to leave, but do you kind of get what I mean? Is it, oh man, I can't tell. Because that would drastically change this. If it's just the 30-foot area on the initial casting, that, for a 3rd level spell, that sucks. Though it's not just the regular terrain or difficult terrain. You can also get them to do different things, and depending on the plants and the DM, you can argue that large branches of trees can like group together or form a rough cover of some kind, or make a stairwell or lift you up. But only temporarily. The plants will move back to their original position after 10 minutes. But being able to communicate with living plants or animated plants is pretty good, as if you shared a common language. 10 minutes? Shambler? I don't know, I don't feel right making too many more comments on this because I'm not sure. If it's an aura around you for 10 minutes, and the effects still last for 10 minutes after you walk past, fantastic. 6 out of 10 because it still relies on plants being around you in your environment, and is a 3rd level spell. For all that. But if it's just the 30-foot radius, that's gonna be It's going to be a 2 out of 10. Yeah, split rating, just because I don't know. I mean, depending, I might just be reading something wrong. Maybe there's another spell that can point to the wording of this. But if it's clarified in the comments, those are my decisions on depending on which situation. It's an alright spell in any case. Well, not in any case.